small college town, a quiet November night, and a crime so brutal it would ignite national headlines and leave a community shattered. On November 13, 2022, 4 University of Idaho students were found brutally murdered inside their off-campus home on King Road. What happened between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m. would launch one of the most intense investigations in recent American history, involving FBI agents, thousands of tips, and a suspect no one expected, a criminology PhD student from just across the state line.
Meanwhile, a homicide investigation is underway after 4 University of Idaho students were found dead inside of an off-campus home. Authorities initially responded to a call about a person unconscious at that home yesterday.
But how did a criminology student become the prime suspect in one of the most chilling college town murders? Today, we'll take you through the timeline, the victims, the investigation, and the legal journey of one of the most heartbreaking cases in recent history. The University of Idaho is a small, quiet campus nestled in Moscow, a town with a population of just over 25,000. In the fall semester of 2022, 5 female students rented a large 3-story home on King Road, just a short walk from campus. The house had 6 bedrooms, 2 on each floor, housing these young adults pursuing their futures. Until that tragic November night, Moscow hadn't seen a murder since 2015. The 4 victims were vibrant members of the university community. Xana Kernodle, 20, was a junior from Avondale, Arizona. Known for her infectious energy and kindness, she lived in the King Road house and was studying marketing. Madison Mogen, 21, from Kernodle, Idaho, was also a resident of the home. A senior majoring in marketing, she was described by friends as compassionate, driven, and full of life. Chapin, 20, was a freshman from Conway, Washington. Ethan was staying with his girlfriend Xana that night. He was studying recreation, sport, and tourism management. Kaylee Goncalves, 21, from Rathdrum, Idaho, had recently moved out of the house after graduation. But on this weekend, she returned to visit Madison, her lifelong best friend. Together, these 4 students represented the heart of campus life, full of laughter, ambition, and strong bonds of friendship. Their loss would send shockwaves through the university, the town, and the nation. On the evening of November 12th, the students went about their typical weekend activities. Chapin and Xana Kernodle spent the evening at an on-campus party at the nearby Sigma Chi fraternity from 8 p.m. until 1:45 a.m. Meanwhile, Madison Mogen and Kaylee Goncalves visited a downtown sports bar called the Corner Club, arriving at around 10 p.m. and leaving by 1:30 a.m. Surveillance footage from a nearby food truck showed Madison and Kaylee getting food at 1:41 a.m. They left shortly after, taking a private ride back to their home. By approximately 2 a.m., all 4 were back at the house. But something unimaginable was about to happen. What occurred inside that house would haunt an entire town and leave investigators with more questions than answers. Between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m., a horrific attack took place inside the home. 4 students were stabbed to death in their bedrooms on the 2nd and 3rd floors. 2 other roommates survived. They were in the house but were not harmed. The surviving roommates later described hearing voices, crying, and the sound of a male figure moving through the house, but they did not physically confront the attacker. One roommate saw a masked figure exit the house through a sliding glass door. Disturbingly, the 911 call was not made until nearly 8 hours later, around noon, when the roommates, believing one of the victims to be unconscious, summoned help.
Going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, Bethany, we gotta go check. But we have to. Is he passed out? Waking up.
Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way.
When police arrived, the door was open, and there were no signs of forced entry or robbery. The victims were pronounced dead at the scene. The Moscow Police Department led the investigation, with assistance from the Idaho State Police and the FBI. investigators found the victims had been stabbed multiple times with a large fixed-blade knife, though no weapon was recovered. Autopsies confirmed all deaths were homicide by stabbing. Some of the victims showed signs of defensive wounds, indicating that at least one, possibly more, had fought back in their final moments. A tan leather knife sheath was discovered on the bed next to the bodies of Madison Mogen and Kaylee Goncalves. It was stamped with a U.S. Marine Corps insignia, and inside that sheath, investigators found a single trace of DNA. One small clue, barely visible, would change everything, and it came from something the killer may not have realized they left behind. At the same time, surveillance footage began to shape the timeline of the crime. A white or light-colored Hyundai Elantra was spotted multiple times near the King Road residence, circling the area, passing by repeatedly, and returning shortly after 4 a.m., right around the estimated time of the murders. The movements of that car and the DNA on the knife sheath would become pivotal in identifying a suspect. As the puzzle pieces came together, a name surfaced, someone with a disturbing interest in crime and a history of strange behavior. After extensive investigation and thousands of tips, authorities focused on Bryan Kohberger, a 28-year-old PhD student at Washington State University in nearby Pullman. Kohberger had recently moved to the area for his criminology doctorate and was a teaching assistant until concerns about his behavior led to his termination shortly after the murders. Phone data placed Kohberger's phone near the crime scene on the night of the killings, and DNA evidence linked to him was found on the knife sheath. Authorities arrested Kohberger at his family home in Pennsylvania on December 30, 2022. Now, before we dive deeper into this chilling case, take a quick moment to protect your future. Whether you're launching a business, writing a will, or just need legal peace of mind, LegalZoom has your back. Use our link below for 10% off and start your journey with confidence. Now, back to the investigation. Kohberger was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder as well as 1 count of felony burglary for unlawfully entering the home with the intent to commit a heinous crime. From the very beginning, Kohberger maintained his silence. During his arraignment, he chose to stand silent, prompting the judge to enter a formal plea of not guilty on his behalf.
You understand the charge in count 5, murder in the first degree. Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
And Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
And because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each charge.
As the case developed, the Latah County Prosecutor's Office announced their intent to pursue the death penalty, citing multiple aggravating factors. These included the especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel nature of the crimes, and the belief that the killings were committed during the commission of a burglary, both of which can elevate a sentence under Idaho's capital punishment laws. After months of pretrial hearings, delays, and motions, including a defense-requested change of venue, the trial has been moved from Latah County to Boise, Idaho, in hopes of assembling an impartial jury. Jury selection is scheduled to begin on July 30, 2025. Opening statements and testimony are set to follow, starting August 11th. Until then, Kohberger remains in custody at the Latah County Jail, held without bond as he awaits what could be one of the most closely watched criminal trials in recent American history. But the most haunting question remains: why? What would drive a PhD student in criminology, someone who studied crime, deviance, and the justice system, to allegedly commit such a brutal act? Prosecutors haven't outlined an official motive, but court filings and interviews suggest potential clues. Some believe Kohberger may have been driven by obsession, a desire to commit the perfect crime and outsmart law enforcement. Others point to signs of social isolation, deep psychological issues, or even a dark curiosity about violence. One chilling detail: investigators found that Kohberger had allegedly researched the emotional responses of criminals before, during, and after committing a violent act. Whether this was about control, fantasy, revenge, or ego, the motive, if ever fully revealed, could be as disturbing as the crime itself. The University of Idaho and the Moscow community were deeply affected by the tragedy. Classes were canceled the day after, vigils were held, and grief blanketed the campus. On November 30, 2022, a candlelight vigil was held in the Kibbe Dome, where hundreds gathered to honor the victims. Family members spoke from the heart. One of the most powerful voices that night was Steve Goncalves, Kaylee's father, who shared a message of unity and love.
When I look at all you guys, there's only one way for this to get a little better, to heal a little bit. There's pain everywhere. You're just gonna have to love each other. You guys are just gonna have to hug each other. You're gonna have to be a little awkward, and you're just gonna have to share. And the only cure to pain is love.
In the wake of the tragedy, the community came together to preserve the memory of the 4 students. The house where the murders occurred was donated to the University of Idaho and demolished nearly a year later. In its place, healing began. A memorial garden was created, the Vandal Healing Garden, and scholarships were established in the victims' names. The families, too, began honoring their children in meaningful ways. Ethan Chapin's family launched the Ethan's Smile Foundation, focused on scholarships and spreading the kindness Ethan was known for.
As a result of this, Jim and I have created a foundation with the goal of offering scholarships here in Skagit Valley. We will take a portion of the proceeds from everything sold here to put towards our new foundation called Ethan's Smile. And part of the funds will go back to the University of Idaho. It's a wonderful way to honor Ethan. He was an amazing kid.
The arrest of Bryan Kohberger has brought some answers, but many questions still remain. Was this an act of obsession, of opportunity, or something far darker? As the trial date approaches, the families, the students, and the entire town of Moscow continue searching for closure and for justice. 4 young lives were taken, but their memories live on through community action, scholarships, and a renewed sense of unity in the face of tragedy. Do you think the evidence is strong enough for a conviction? Should the death penalty be on the table in a case like this? And what does justice really mean for a crime like this? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future coverage on this case and others like it. Do you want to support the channel and get something useful in return? Check out the affiliate links in the description. Each click helps us to keep bringing you the news that matters.